Hello, RevenueVision family, and welcome to this demo on our workflow module. Workflow was created in RevenueVision to accommodate the many contract proposals colleges and universities handle on a day-to-day basis. In this demo, I'll walk you through a generic business process for a standard contract proposal. Now, your institution may require steps that are more or less involved, but the goal of this demo is to give you some insight on how workflow can be utilized in RevenueVision. Please note that the workflow module is an additional cost, so for more information on this cost, please contact support@RevenueVision.com. Workflow is a separate module that gives limited access to RevenueVision. So for this demo's purpose, we'll be toggling back and forth between several workflow user accounts. A business services role, someone who will manage the logistics of workflow. A submitter role, someone who will submit the initial contract request. A legal consultant role, someone who works in the legal department to review and make edits to the contract request. And finally, a vice president or president role, someone who will give final sign-off before converting the request to an actual contract page in RevenueVision. In this example, we will be submitting a request for a new snack vending agreement. The idea here is that once you've placed your contract request in RevenueVision, your business services department will then utilize their pre-existing bidding system or internal process to actually award a vendor. Then the routing and signage of that awarded request can be tracked via the workflow module in RevenueVision. So now I will log in as a submitter and submit a contract request in RevenueVision. Upon logging in, I'll hover over Create and click Contract Proposal. You'll see a number of fields pop up here. We'll first select a number pattern for the local ID. As a note, if you do not wish to use a number pattern, you can also manually enter a proposal ID. Next, we'll enter a proposal name, which in this case will be Request for a Snack Vending Agreement. Then we'll select a status. In this example, we'll start off with the status of advertised, indicating that the proposal is being advertised to potential vendors. Next, the proposal manager will be determined by your business process. Ideally, it should be the person responsible for it when it turns into a ratified contract, but for this demo's purpose, I'll assign Grace Thompson as the manager. Now we'll enter an estimated annual value of the contract. On average, we expect to receive at least $10,000 a year in revenue for this snack vending agreement. Next, we'll enter a brief contract description, something along the lines of looking for a snack vending agreement to span 10 years with at least $10,000 a year in revenue. Next, we will select a workflow station. We'll set it to the standard contract workflow. This will move the proposal to the solicitations area of RevenueVision, where a business services user will pick it up and move it forward. Now we'll update the planned contract start and end date. Since we're requesting that the contract span 10 years, we'll have the dates range from February 1st of 2021 to January 31st of 2031. Then we'll click Save. Upon clicking Save, you'll notice that the workflow station has updated and locked down. Also, you'll see some more areas open up down below. Here we will scroll down and click Show Attachments to attach our request for proposal. A quick note here, the area labeled Workflow Data at the bottom is tracking each step this proposal takes in real time. This is beneficial for auditing purposes as there will always be a timestamp and designated queue that the contract request is in at any given time, and this data can never be deleted. Next, we will add a comment with the type of submitter, stating we've successfully submitted this request. Click Save again, and your contract request is complete. As a submitter, I'll log out now and take you through the steps of managing workflow as a business services user. Now is a good time to mention that the workflow module comes with configurable alerting if your institution chooses to utilize it. In this instance, if alerts were activated, the business services user would receive an alert that a contract request has been submitted. As we work through this demo, each time a station is changed, an alert can be configured to fire to the users of that station, notifying them that something new is in their queue. So now I'll log in as a business services user. This user should be someone who also has full access to RevenueVision. So we'll navigate to solicitations once we get to our home page. We'll find the new contract request. In this example, it's the request for snack vending agreement. We'll click this request and begin to make any necessary updates. For example, the business services user may want to add bid opening and bid closing dates. So here I'll add a bid opening, and we'll have it start on January 1st. And then we'll add the bid closing and have that be January 18th. We'll go ahead and click Save on those dates. And next, we'll update the organizations. We'll add to this area the organizations that have submitted, as well as the one that has been awarded. So we'll say here that Weston Food Systems has submitted for this bid. And in the description box, you can put a description of the organization. In this example, we're just going to put a little note that all of the important information and proposed contract documents are attached below. Then we'll add the vendor that we're awarding this contract to, which is going to be Mills Vending. And we'll leave the status as awarded and add the same note. Now that we've updated the organizations, we're going to also update the status of the overall solicitation to awarded. And click Save on that as well. Next, we'll upload the proposed contract documents from both Weston Food Systems and Mills Vending, with track changes on within each Word document. Next, we'll add a comment stating that we've attached the contract documents of the awarded vendor and are forwarding it to the legal department's queue. After saving the comment, the business services user will change the workflow station to legal. This will lock down the stations, and the contract request is now in the legal department's queue. We'll click Save on that as well. I will now log out as a business services user. As a legal user, I will now log in. This user only has access to the workflow module, similar to the submitter from earlier on. The legal user will find the request for snack vending proposal in their queue, click on it, and then scroll down to the attachments area. They'll open up the pending contract, which in this example is the Mills snack vending. They'll review the attached documents with track changes on, and they'll make any necessary changes. Now that we've made some changes to this document, we'll save it under a new file name, preferably with a date included. Once we do that, we'll reattach it in RevenueVision. And we'll look for the new file name to reattach. Alrighty. Then we'll add a quick comment indicating our approval as a legal user. And then we'll update the workflow station above to the vice president or president station. As a quick note, if the legal user finds something wrong with the document and needs to reject it, they make their edits within the document, add a comment in RevenueVision explaining the rejection, and send it back to the previous station, which would be business services. For this demo's purpose, though, we will just show an example of a streamlined approval. So the legal user can log out now. Next, we'll log in as the vice president or president to do a final review of the proposed contract and approve it. This user will again only have access to the workflow module. They'll find the request for snack agreement, scroll down to attachments, download the necessary document, and review it. Once approved, they'll leave a comment and update the workflow station to Business Services Final. Again, as a note, if the vice president or president needs to reject it at this point for any reason, they would make that known in the comments and assign it back to legal. Once the workflow station has been updated, I will log out of the VP President account. Now that the request is in the Business Services Final queue, I will log in as a Business Services user. I'll click on Solicitations to find the Request for Snack Vending Agreement, At this final stage of the standard contract workflow, the contract request will open up a few more fields, allowing the business services user to turn the request into an actual contract in RevenueVision. To turn this contract request into an actual contract page, we'll click the Create Contract button. Next, we'll choose a contract template. For this example, we'll use the RFP to contract template. As you can see here, a few of our fields from our request have transferred to the contract page itself. We'll just update these to reflect a ratified contract. We'll update the name. We'll select a contract ID. We'll select a contract type. And we'll select a status of active as it's a fully ratified contract. We'll select a manager. We'll select the organization that we've awarded it to, Mills Vending, as well as any primary contacts. We'll update the contract description. Mills Vending to provide snacks across campus vending machines. And then we'll click Next. Here we'll confirm the contract start and end dates, verifying that they transferred over appropriately. We'll fill in any configurable columns, the purchase request number, as well as the contract purchasing officer. And then we'll click Save and Exit. The request for snack vending agreement has now become a fully ratified contract within RevenueVision. We can see the tags above as contracted. You can see the link to the solicitation. So if we click that, it'll take us back to our RFP. And we can change the status here to finalized, as it's now a contract in RevenueVision. We'll click Save, and we'll scroll down and click the contract link to get back to the contract page. You can see a lot of the other information has been filled in as well as we went through those steps: the type, the status, the manager, the configurable columns, as well as the date. This contract template also pre-populates some provision categories that you can fill in at a later date. This concludes our demo on workflow in RevenueVision. If you have any questions or concerns, please contact support@revenuevision.com. Thank you for your time.